and it's transcribing. I wonder if I close the transcript, will it still record? Do you know? It's just distracting. I'll
It
just
should
leave it.
still record.
It should still record.
Okay, cool. Thanks. All right, so we'll get started here. So, as you know, this is for the 2025 National Monitoring Conference. Let's see here. I'm just gonna pull up something on my screen. And this is the abstract review and session creation process. So basically, if you submitted a session as a session chair or co-chair, you got an invite to this meeting because your session was accepted into the conference, as long as you receive abstracts and can create a session. So this is the process of reviewing the abstracts and creating the session. So here's the overview of the agenda. We're going to go over the steps to creating sessions from start to finish, both before and after the abstract review process, just to paint the picture of where this all fits into the conference planning. So we'll go over why you should follow this protocol as well, the abstract review team, the abstract review materials, the overview of session creation steps, the detailed description of those steps, and then we'll have some time for questions. We should have plenty of time for questions at the end. So here you can see this is the overview from start to finish of creating sessions. So the program committee proposes the initial themes, and then the program committee sends out the call for sessions, and then you all submit your sessions to us and they're reviewed and accepted. And then from that point, you all create your abstract review team. And then the program committee sends out the call for abstracts, which is where we are now. So we're still receiving abstracts and will be until the 30th. So we've got, I think, 370 something as of yesterday. So lots of abstracts coming in, which is great. So what happens now is the program committee is currently reviewing those abstracts as they come in and just doing an initial screening and making sure there's no commercial abstracts or anything that just doesn't fit into the conference. But that's about it. Then we'll send them out to you all to do a more thorough review. So our next step after our review is we'll distribute the abstracts to the session chairs and co-chairs, and the session chairs will distribute those abstracts to the abstract review team after they do an initial screening, just to make sure that we didn't miss anything. And then the session chairs and abstract review team will review abstracts and organize them into proposed session blocks, and the program committee receives those proposed sessions, and there probably will be some back and forth with you all just to, ask any questions as necessary, and then we'll send acceptance letters to the abstract submitters. So just real quick, reasons to follow the protocol. Since there are so many abstracts and so many sessions, by creating this kind of seemingly somewhat complicated process, it helps ensure consistency across the board as everyone's going through this. So it allows for consistency in abstract evaluation. Your notes help keep abstracts organized and ensures the program committee understands your reasoning for your decisions. Having a diverse abstract review team, which we'll get into, ensures that sessions are well represented, which you all know is an important part of this conference in general, representation. Sessions are created and proposed consistently by following the protocol, and the program committee can make quicker decisions to get back to abstract submitters if there's any holes that need to be filled or questions we have. By doing everything this way, it's really helpful for us. So the abstract review team should be comprised of 3 to 10 experts/professionals. It should be diverse. It should be people from federal, state, local, tribe, etc. And if you need help forming an abstract review team, let us know and we can try to find people to be on your team. And then we just included this year just to kind of really simplify the abstract review team roles here, just so you understand your main roles are to review and rank all abstracts forwarded to you, develop sessions from those abstracts, and to return any abstracts that do not fit in your session to the program committee ASAP. And we'll get back to, we'll get to the process of returning abstracts, but basically as soon as possible is the best for us. You don't, it would be ideal if people didn't wait until the very end when they're wrapping everything up and sending it back to us, just to let us know that if there's any abstracts that you don't want, so that way we can try to find a better place for them if they are of good quality. All right, so the review materials. So everyone received the abstract review instructions, which contains detailed information on how to review abstracts and create final sessions. So there's a lot of information in that Word document, but we just tried to cover all bases there. So I know it's a bit overwhelming, but you can reference that as you're going through, and you can always reach out to us too, but that's a good reference document. And then we also have a abstract review FAQ, which we sent to you all just from questions from doing these, doing this for years and years, basically. And then soon enough here, you'll get your compiled abstracts Word document. So it'll just be one document with all your abstracts together. And then you'll get an abstract scoring criteria spreadsheet. So this will look very similar. If anybody was part of this process last time, look very similar to 2023. And then so we'll send this to the session chair and it'll be preloaded with your abstracts. And that spreadsheet includes all these tabs here, but we'll get into each of those tabs. And then you'll also receive this PowerPoint. So we can send this, and we can also share the recording so you guys can reference this in the future. So here are the abstract review steps. So step 1 is abstract review. And then this slide is actually really, it would be useful for you all when you're going through the process. It breaks down each tab that you need for each step of the process. So the first one is abstract review. So you have example reviewer, and abstract rubric. Step 2 is combining reviewer responses and listing final abstract designation, and then this tab. And then step 3, development of sessions, this tab. And then step 4, you'll submit your sessions back to us in the compiled Excel document by October 18th. All right, so step 1, this is the abstract review step. So here is a screenshot of the tab, the reviewer tab. And this one is pre-populated with scores, but yours will come with all of these yellow columns pre-populated with your abstracts. This will be blank, but there is an example reviewer tab in your spreadsheet. So that will have scores in it, just to kind of show you an example of how one would look filled out correctly. So as you can see, there's several abstracts here. And this is all information that they filled out, the submitter filled out when they submitted their abstract. So yeah, like I said, I think I said there's missing columns here just for the purpose of this just screenshot, but there are more columns in the spreadsheet, which I can pull up later. But so there's some rating criteria, which will be on the next slide, but you'll use that to rate each of the abstracts, and each reviewer will get their own reviewer tab. So this is something you do on your own. This isn't something you do as a team. So just to keep everything equal. So let's see, is there anything I'm forgetting? Oh, and then all of your scores will be summed up in this total abstract score. So this is useful to remember. So this abstract number 1, this reviewer gave it a 26. So this is the abstract rubric. So we have these 6 criteria. We don't have to get into reading all of the criteria here, but so 1 is poor and 5 is excellent, I believe. So lowest to highest. So you can just read through these criteria as you are rating the abstracts. So the second step is combining reviewer responses and listing final abstract designations. So this is for the session chair. So once all the reviewers are done doing their individual review, they'll send their spreadsheet to the session chair, and the session chair will combine all those scores into this tab. So as you can see, the abstracts are here, and this is all the, again, pre-populated information. And the first, so as we saw on the other slide, reviewer one gave abstract number one a 26. So for the same abstract, the reviewer two gave it a 20, and so on. I'm sure you all understand. And then from these three reviewer scores, an average score was created. And that'll happen for all the abstracts that were submitted to this session. So this one is good because it's basically a perfect scenario where this session received 4 oral in-person abstracts. So that will create basically an in-person session. These 4 were pretty high scoring, and they got the abstract review team feels like it'll form a good session. So from there, yeah, so this final recommendation column, this is something that as a team you all will determine. So you'll feel like I said, like if you feel like the scores are high, you'll say accepted in session. And then there are other options here. There's poster, trade, reject. So this person felt like they didn't have a preference for how they present. So you feel like maybe it'll be a good poster for the conference. Then this one here is a trade. So it scored well on average, but it doesn't quite fit with your other 4 presentations. So you can trade it to this session potentially. So there's actually, I'll show you on the spreadsheet, there's actually, the submitter can select up to 3 sessions that they feel like their abstract would fit well into. So you can reference on the reviewer tab those other sessions that they feel like they would fit well into, and you can select one of those, or you could go on the website and try to find a better option. But like I mentioned earlier, these trades are great. It's great if you can let us know ASAP. So if this, this was a pretty high scoring abstract, but it doesn't fit well in yours, we could send it to another abstract review team to potentially fit into their abstract. And then this one here was, you feel like it doesn't quite fit into the conference, so you selected reject. So those are the 4 options. And then there's these optional bonus points. So this would be, say you had 5 higher scoring abstracts and it's for an in-person session. Well, there aren't 5 slots in an in-person session. So you would have to select between one of those, and also this would be for like tied scores. So you'd have to select between one of those, maybe give them a bonus point for, I don't know, you feel like that it's more fitting for the session in general. So you could just put in comments and explain why you gave the bonus points. And in the instructions, we have like example reasons why you may give bonus points. All right, I think that's it here. And then step 3, development of sessions. So this is just screenshots. We'll get to these. It's just, I think we kind of didn't really have anything else to put on the slide, so I'm skipping over it. There's 2 types of sessions here. There's in-person and asynchronous. So for in-person, there's going to be 70 concurrent sessions running during the conference throughout the week. In-person sessions are in-person presentations only. An in-person session is 90 minutes long. It contains 4 talks, 20 minutes each, and there's time at the end for Q&A. And then asynchronous are pre-recorded and not part of the live conference. An asynchronous session can have as many asynchronous presentations as you all feel necessary. It's at the asynchronous sessions and presentations in general are accessed through the conference app during the conference and for several months post-conference. And attendees will be able to interact with presenters and moderators through the virtual platform during and after the conference. So here we are at the creation of sessions. So this is just the first part of the spreadsheet. The next slide will be the second half. It's just too wide to fit on one slide here. So this is the final proposed session tab, and this information is what you all submitted. The conference theme, session number, session name are all from what you all submitted when you submitted your created session. So that's not something that you need to come up with. And then the moderator here, so you don't have to know who your moderator is by the time that you send your created sessions back to us. And then your abstracts here, this will be you'll list them in order of how you want them presented, not the order of rating from high to low or low to high. So just whatever flows best for your session and what makes the most sense. So this is the second half of the same tab on the spreadsheet. So there is additional ranking that will occur for your session. So this will just basically the point of this here is to kind of like help you reflect on your session creation process and making sure that you kept these things in mind and that you're creating a high quality session. So these development criteria are at the top of the final proposed session tab, I believe is what it's called. They'll be at the top so you can reference them as you're creating your sessions. And then you'll select if it's going to be in person or asynchronous. And if you can create more than one session. If you get like 10 abstracts that are good for in-person sessions and you want to create, select 4 and 4 and leave out 2, you would need to rank your in-person sessions because since there is limited space, there may not be enough room for both sessions. So you'd want to let us know which one would be the highest priority. And then you also just need to make sure, this may seem obvious, but just making sure that each person that said for an in-person presentation said on the reviewer tab where the pre-populated information is, make sure that they said that they would be at the conference. And then there's also this column here to let us know if there's any substitutions that could be added to your session. Let's say, like I said, like you have 4 abstracts that you select, and the 5th one wasn't. You suggested trade, like that trade you could put as in a substitution because maybe it didn't get chosen on another session. Basically, this is to provide a substitution if someone drops out or they're not able to make it to the conference for whatever reason. Let's see. Yep, and just explain anything that you need to just kind of explain to us. We appreciate you letting us know in the comments. So this is the session development criteria that I mentioned would be at the session creation tab. It'll be at the top there. But you could also reference it in this PowerPoint or in the Word document of instructions. All right, so kind of flew through that, but there's plenty of time for questions. And so these are the last 2 slides. So to develop the deadline for submittal is October 18th. Our plan is to get you all the abstracts by the end of September, but hopefully sooner, we'll see. And then you can send your compiled spreadsheets to me. And this is the file format. We will send you the file in this format. It's just helpful if you leave it as it is, so that way it'll just be easier for us to keep everything organized, since we'll be receiving a lot of them. And then if you could include the individual reviewer tabs from each of your abstract review team members, just for us to cross-reference if we have any questions or just for tracking. And then you can reach out to me if you have any submission and spreadsheet questions. And you can reach out to Monty and Dave if you have any program-specific questions. So I think that's it. Any questions?
Hey, Lily, this is Dave. In the chat, someone asked how soon after the submission deadline will they receive the abstracts to start the review process? Um, we hopefully by like the third week of September, we would like to be sure to have them all to you. We've been having some internal discussion of whether we could start sending them out sooner than that as we kind of look at them from the program committee's point of view. We want to identify any of them that do not fit with the themes of the conference, if there's something that just doesn't fit. And then if there's anything that's obviously a commercial for somebody's services or products, we don't want that to take up time when we can have people presenting on work they've done and results that they've gotten from their work. So that's the screening process we will do as the program committee before we send the abstracts out. But we have been discussing amongst ourselves, and we don't have a hard decision yet as to when we're going to start sending them out. But as soon as we get this initial screening done, we'd like to start getting them out to you sooner rather than later. But we've got sort of the third week of September as our target to make sure we've got everything reviewed and out to all of the session chairs. And so you need to be thinking about who can you get to be on your abstract review team. We're going to be, this webinar today has been recorded and you'll have access to that. We'll send you out a copy of the slides here that were presented. But we will also be doing this one more time, and I don't remember the exact date of it, but
It's the 11th. September 11th is the second one.
Okay. So we will be repeating this, so you can think about it, see if you come up with any more questions, and come back to us when we do this again. And I'm looking at some more comments here in the chat. Need clarification.
I can answer this one if you'd like.
Okay, go for it.
So if we are lucky enough to get many abstracts for a proposed session, like enough for a second session, how do we communicate that? So you would just, they would all come in the same spreadsheet and the same Word document, but you would just, let's see if I can arrow back. So here on these, so it would be sorry, you would, here there would be another line of like all the abstracts. It would be this would be the same information, right, everybody? But not the moderator, because that would be a second session, or I don't know. You all, maybe it would be better if you all, but it would be on the same tab, and you would have the 4 more abstracts listed here, and then you would rank it for, so you'd have a top priority session and a second session. But as for the other information, that would probably be better for one of you all to answer, Dave or Monty.
So the idea is you might have put in for, say, 2 sessions in your session proposal, but we get enough abstracts that come through the process for you to be reviewing 12 to 16 abstracts that you had that many people actually submitted to your session. We would want you to review all those, turn ones back to us that don't fit. One of the pre-screens that we do is we make sure that we try to go back and resort things to make sure they got put in the right session, or if they don't fit a session, we take them as orphans and start dealing with them ourselves. So when we send them to you, we're assuming they fit well in your session. Part of your review is going to be to say, no, maybe these 3 don't out of the 12 I received. But and you'll get those back to us. But formulate sessions out of everything you get. Rank your sessions. One of the things about the program, we only have 70 available sessions that in person in the conference, but we're going to accommodate as many asynchronous sessions as we can as well. So there's that part of it. We don't want you just not to take abstracts and put them into sessions. We may not be able to accommodate everything that you arrange into sessions within the live conference, but we want you to take the time to think through how abstracts would fit together. And then you need to rank those sessions out as to what you see as being the ones most likely to fit into the conference from your perspective. So if you had 3 sessions you put together, we'd want them ranked 1 through 3. And then we need to make decisions as the program committee about what can fit throughout the entire conference, because obviously with what'll probably be over 500 abstracts, we're going to have well more than 70 sessions that'll get proposed to us. And at that point in time, we've got to determine what makes it into what makes the final cut in terms of live sessions. But yes, you do need to rank everything you receive, get back to us ASAP abstracts that you don't think fit or that you reject. And then every remaining abstract, make sure it fits in a session. One thing we'll do is we'll remove all poster. There's a choice about your abstracts as you put them in. And one of those choices is poster only. We'll remove all the poster only. We'll take all of those ourselves and deal with ranking and reviewing those. We'll get those to you to let you know that you might have a poster that fits well within your session topic so that you can push people towards that poster. But we'll review all the poster onlys ourselves. And but yeah, we do need you to rank everything, review everything, and place everything in sessions that you keep.
And part of Monty's point is that you may have reached out to specific people that you thought you wanted to have present in your session, but other people will be submitting abstracts to that session as well. So you've got to review them all and give them, put them through the same protocol in case somebody that you didn't think of sends in an abstract that's really good. You've got to make sure they have an opportunity to be ranked fairly against the people you invited. And Monty, there's a lot going on in the chat about
Yeah.
Yeah,
Aaron's.
I was gonna respond to Katie's comment and then received 5 likes. In a perfect world, we would be able to kind of comb through the ones that were submitted, and then get to you, back to you, and let you know, like, this is what's been submitted so far, and it's just like, but it's kind of a lot of processing. I mean, we're receiving almost like 450 to 550. So I would suggest, if you're concerned that maybe someone didn't submit one to your session that you encouraged to submit, you could just remind them. If it's a group of 5 or 10 people, that would really be helpful for us, considering there's just so many abstracts, and for us to like get to every session and every session chair and be like, these are the ones that have been submitted so far, it would be a lot of work for us to do that. Just being transparent. I don't know if anybody has anything else to say in regards to that.
No, I think us sending out a list of all the abstracts we receive might become more confusing than just one of the things we rely on people who submit sessions is that you guys will be in contact with those colleagues that you want to submit abstracts. And so we kind of place that responsibility on you all. But we're dealing with a scat of abstracts. We've got tons of them, and trying to send those out for people to sort through, I'm afraid, would create other problems, would have unintended consequences. So if you guys can do that yourselves, that would be great. You know who you've contacted, and you know who you want to submit. So really that's something that I think you have the best ability to do outside of us. On the question from, can we suggest submit abstracts to other sessions or to posters? So I believe Aaron Houghton, pardon me if I've mispronounced your last name. So whenever we get submittals, they come in under various categories. They'll come in as asynchronous only, which means they don't want to present in person at the conference. If they get accepted, they want to be only an asynchronous talk. We'll get a preference of oral only, which means that they only want to present orally in person at the conference. Poster only, which they only want to do a poster. But then we'll get no preference, or we get poster or oral presentation, where people are one or the other. The only way that we move things between categories of poster or oral presentation is if somebody says that they want one or the other. They're okay with either one. If they've submitted, and you're going to have this information, if they've submitted only as an oral presentation, we don't even attempt to move them. We've tried that in the past, and it becomes a nightmare. We lose people because we think we've got session spot filled, and they didn't want to do that. So we're pretty strict about that. If somebody wants to be a poster only, that's where we keep them. Or if they want to be an oral presentation only, that's where we keep them. We don't move things back and forth just to, again, allay the chaos that occurs when we start to do those kinds of things.
I can answer Haley's question. Can we rate abstracts that we are an author on? So if you submitted an abstract and you're on the abstract review team, you should not review your abstract. So it is an average on the final tab. There's an average of scores, so it won't affect if there's like 3 people that score 1 and 4 people that score another. It won't matter. So yeah, if you are somebody that submitted one, then you should not rate yours. Oh, that's Dave answered that. Yeah.
There's another question. Can we suggest submitted abstracts change to posters? Yes, if you've got great abstracts that you don't have room for in your sessions, you can make that suggestion, and we will have to contact that person and see if they're still willing.
Dave, I answered that one a while ago. We're not going to do
Okay.
that, remember? Yeah, that was what I was answering, that if they've said
While I
poster
was
only,
typing.
oh, okay. If they say poster only, we don't even attempt to make the switch. It's after what, 10th conference now doing this, that never turns out well. For every 20 that we get that request, we maybe have one that works out. And so we rely on the person who's submitting to tell us where they want to be in the conference. And if they say that they want to do something only, that is the only place there's plenty of good abstracts that are submitted. So we have, if somebody wants to do a poster only, that is the track they go down. If they want to do oral only, that's the track they go down. And we don't switch them off that.
Okay. Monty, the question is if it's submitted as an abstract, can they suggest it as a poster if they're going to not put it in a live session?
No, not if they said oral only. If they said poster or oral, yes. If they are no preference, yes. But if they put it in as an oral abstract only, we don't follow up with that.
Yeah, there is a no preference option. So if I know Bonnie just said that, but you can say poster if there's no preference. Anything else? All right, Jason.
So abstract submitters can submit up to 3 different sessions. So will that go to each of those different session chairs then? And is that how that basically works, or?
It's the first choice, right? Initially.
Right.
Yeah, and then if it doesn't fit well with yours, let's say it's yours, if it doesn't fit well, then you can suggest it be traded to somewhere else, which is again why we prefer people let us know ASAP. so we can send it to another session if it's maybe their second or third choice. Likely second, then third.
Okay. Yeah, I was
Jason,
wondering how that would-
the other way we use that information, Jason, is to, part of our initial screen is to parse things out to sessions. The session that somebody submits to is the initial thing that we use. But if something just doesn't make sense based on the title, we might start doing some research into what else they submitted to. And that's where we might move something over to another session. Or if we're just getting a lot of abstracts going into one session group, we might begin to see if things can be moved around a little bit to equalize the process some. But we don't do that without really due diligence, making sure that it actually fits where we move it to. But that's a possibility that we might use a second or third if we feel like something needs to be moved prior to sending out the abstracts. As a follow-up to that too, is if you've contacted people and you don't get their abstract and what you've gotten and they said they submitted, please let us know ASAP. It's only happened once or twice, but there's a chance we might move something out. We'll get it back over. If you've requested something, we'll get that back over to your group if we happen to move things around that where a requested abstract got moved out of where it was requested from.
There is a question from Leanne in the chat about being, or sorry, not Leanne. There's another one up higher, I think. This was a response to your response to Haley's question. So, if they're listed as a co-author but did not submit the abstract, can they score it? I would say if you're part of the abstract at all, it would be best if you didn't score it because it would be a somewhat biased score, right? What do you all think?
Yeah, if your team should be made up enough to where if you have, you should not be rating your own abstract, even if you're a co-author. That means you have an investment in that abstract, and so it's there should be a diverse enough team where that wouldn't occur. You'd have options.
All right, will there be a list of people willing to moderate sessions?
We always ask for, if we prefer to get a suggested moderator from the session leads, but if they don't know somebody or there's not an option they have, we'll make sure somebody gets filled into that slot. We use council members all the time as moderators, and so we can make sure that occurs.
Steve's question, do you suggest abstract teams have a meeting to discuss abstract reviews? Yes, so the reviewers will submit your reviewers to the session chair who will pull them all together, but you all will make decisions as a group for the final determination for the session. So yes, you all should get together and make the final determination together. But not individual reviews, not the individual reviews of individual abstracts. That should be done on your own.
We encourage as much joint conversation as possible, though, in formulating your session. And you guys will wind up likely on some of these, if you get a lot of abstracts, going back through them together and talking about your reviews. Don't be afraid to change something if you feel like it needs to once you all have talked about it. That's the reason we like to have teams that are diverse and have a number of people in them so that you can feed off of one another as well.
Yeah, Sarah, Session chairs and co-chairs can be part of the abstract review team. Can be one of the 3 to 10 members or more than one. So Jacob asked about editing your submitted abstract. You can always reach out to us if you really would like to edit yours. Normally it's best if just for keeping everything straight and organized, it's best if you kind of don't we don't have to make any edits, but if you have one that you really like to edit, just let us know and we can arrange something.
Really, once the reviewers begin their review process, we shouldn't be changing an abstract in midstream after reviewers are already reviewing it and scoring things.
Leanne, to your question, your last question about a moderator. No, we don't. If you don't have somebody that's on your team that's available to moderate, we'll find somebody from the council to come in and moderate for you. And we're a fairly diverse council, so we have people with a lot of backgrounds. We can likely fit somebody into your session that would know that would have some knowledge of the material you're presenting and would be able to professionally moderate it. You don't need to have somebody come in and moderate it for you. We can make sure that we fill that gap for you if somebody in your session team can't do it.
And co-chairs can moderate. It's just if you're presenting, you can't moderate.
Right. That's the only way. That's the only people who can't moderate. You can't moderate a session you're presenting in, but you can moderate a session you help put together if you're going to be at the conference.
Whoops, sorry.
Everybody froze for a minute.
Oh, is everybody okay? Good.
Yeah.
What was I going to say? Yeah, I think the whole thought process behind that, or what from your all experiences, is if people are moderating and presenting, it's just like one person kind of taking over the session. So I assume that's why that rule is in place.
Yeah, it's sometimes it works out. But one of the things it allows too is it allows a little bit more activity in the conference, people to participate. In moderators don't have to worry about presenting. They can do their job as they need to do it, and it's a better practice from our perspective. Our conference has always done that, had moderators kind of separate from the presentations themselves, but we're really good about filling those gaps in. We like you guys to fill it up for us because it takes one more thing off our plate. But we have plenty of resources to fill in gaps for moderators. That's something we never have a problem doing, is filling in gaps.
And if I'm presenting, I tend to be long-winded, and if I'm the moderator, I won't cut myself off.
Right. Another gap we can fill for you too. We prefer you to put your own teams together, but if you're having trouble doing that, let us know. We can find council members or people that we know that might be able to help you out. Some ask if one of our council members can come in as a team member too. There's a few sessions we've noticed that we would like to have a council member involved in, and but we'll make that request. But if you need help formulating your team, let us know, and we can see what we can help you out with.
All right. Well, I think we're kind of at a stopping point here. So yeah, let us know if you have any questions, think of anything. You can always reach out. And we'll send you your abstract review package shortly here. And otherwise, if you feel like you need to see this again, we can send the recording, or you can join us on the 11th.
If you have any questions, call Dave. We're all available. Please call us if you've got any questions or email.
All right. See ya.
Thanks all.
Have a good day.
Thank you all.